I'm going to do the best that I can to paint a graphic story to illustrate something that I think is fascinating. Childhood, right? It all starts in childhood, the earliest years of life. Even potentially around infancy as well. Um, Take a person, right? They're either in infancy, they're in toddlerhood, whatever it is, right? And maybe you take a very prominent figure in their life. It could be a caregiver, it could be a parent, whoever it is, right? But imagine that very prominent figure, um, and it might also not be a prominent figure, but it's enough to do damage. Um, Take that prominent figure and start. This is going to be kind of graphic. Start punching that infant or that toddler in the face over and over and over again, right? Now, as time goes on, that doesn't stop, right? So, what this person becomes used to is being punched in the face over and over again, right? And so then what ends up happening is that person forms a belief that they deserve to be hurt, which makes sense, right? All that they've ever known, maybe not all that they've ever known, but a majority of what they've known is being punched in the face, right? That hurts to be punched in the face, right? But that doesn't change that they believe, they learn a belief that they deserve to be punched in the face, right? Um, so what's fascinating about this is that as time goes by, if they're not getting punched in the face by that person, that prominent figure in their life that they have been, they're going to seek other people, other objects that reinforce that. So they're actually going to seek and choose objects, meaning people, that continue the pattern, the dynamic of punching them in the face because they believe that they deserve to be hurt. I believe that it was Freud that, I could be wrong about this, I don't know enough about it, but um, I think it was Freud that coined the term repetition compulsion, right? Something that happens in the earlier years of our lives, in infancy, in toddlerhood, whatever it is, right? And we form beliefs around those experiences and those events. And sometimes those events are traumatizing, right? It's traumatizing to be punched in the face, especially earlier on in life, right? Um, what does that do to a person? It leads them to believe that they deserve to be hurt. Um, so, in terms of repetition compulsion, again, like I was saying before, they continue to seek objects, to choose objects that, and when I say objects, I mean people, that reinforce that, right? So maybe it's a friend, right? So they choose that friend. Here, I'm going to put you here. I'm going to call you friend, and you're going to, oh, yeah, there we go. You already know how to do this. Cool, let's go. Let's keep going. Yeah, you're my best friend. You know exactly what it is that I need. You're giving me what it is that I believe I deserve, right? And, you know, so on and so forth. And also with, yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's platonic or romantic. Um, what I'm talking about here is masochism, the belief that a person deserves to be hurt, right? Not only that, not only that, it's not just the belief that a person deserves to be hurt, but it's also, and this is what's so challenging about the dynamic, it's also that the person derives pleasure from being hurt. Whether it's, physically hurt, humiliated, whatever it is, verbal abuse, anything, right? Masochism. So when your repetition compulsion trauma basically leads you to masochism. It's a really fascinating dynamic, right? So repetition compulsion, continuing the same patterns over and over again, which is fascinating because you're being driven by the little you that learned to believe that you deserve to be hurt, right? Because you had that caretaker, that prominent figure in your life that just, you know, sit here, you little shit. And by the way, it I'm using this just as simple context, right? It could be many different forms of all of that stuff, right? It's not just punching, but some kids did get hit repeatedly over and over again. Um, it could be verbal abuse. It could be fucking a child with your shit. And when I say that, meaning exposing a child to age inappropriate material that they don't need to know about. Um, it could be anything, right? But the fact of the matter is that they learn that very early on, and then they continue to seek that out later on in life with platonic and romantic relationships, right? They find objects, they find people to put in their life. Here, you're going to be right here, you're dominant, you're controlling. You know just how to slap me, you know just how to punch me, you know just the terrible fucking things to say to me that I know I deserve to be told because I am a worthless piece of shit, just like I was told when I was younger, and you reinforce that, and that's familiar, and that's comfortable, so we're gonna keep this dynamic going. And it's not good or bad or right or wrong, but it's a exceedingly dysfunctional and unhealthy dynamic, right? Um, the more I learn about masochism, I'm so fascinated by the entire subject. Um, and it's not just masochism either. I will probably make a video on sadism as well. The getting of pleasure through causing somebody else pain, right? But it's kind of like fascinating. Like, oh, here's something that I want to touch base on too. That's so fascinating, right? You spend your entire life from a very small child into your adult years being punched in the face, and again, that's just metaphorical. Insert being, emotionally fucked by other people's shit because they don't have healthy boundaries. Insert verbal abuse. Insert whatever the fuck. It's just a matter of learning the belief that you deserve to be hurt, right? Then not only that, it gets more wild. I was going to say it gets crazier, but anyway, it gets more masochistic. Then, beyond that, right, if this is what you're used to, you don't really want people that don't do this. You don't really want people that are healthy, that treat you well, right? You continue to seek out and choose objects that are like that. Not only that, imagine, to kind of like put some very fine brush strokes on this story that I'm telling here, imagine you discover that that is a prison that you have been locked inside of for forever, right? You are now aware of that and you can unlock the door, right? And then, like somebody actually does unlock the door for you, right? And then it's like you open the door and you step out and you're like, right? What is the wild thing about repetition, compulsion, and comfort and familiarity? What is the wild thing about a fucked up place that feels like home? You might be unlocked from the prison. You might have every power to walk out and get out, right? But you might go right back because that's what's comfortable and that's what's familiar, right? You could be like, wait a second, what the fuck am I doing to myself? Why am I letting all these people hurt me? What the fuck? I deserve to be hurt? Well, what else is there? Okay. And that just continues to be the same dynamic over and over again moving forward. I might make a part 2 to this, but really just understanding the dynamic of masochism and how trauma can lead a person to continue, placing themselves in positions and relationships with people that reinforce a belief that, a masochistic belief that they deserve to be hurt. That's really the foundational, fundamental theme of this, right? And let me just end off with this real quick before I might make another video, part 2, but the craziest thing is that when you are in a relationship that is romantic, right, and it's masochistic, and there are behaviors where your belief that you deserve to be hurt is being reinforced, and it feels like home, it feels right, It's not healthy, but it feels like home. Getting stuck in that, I feel like, can be easy for a lot of people because it's comfortable and familiar. It feels like home. It feels like home. But do you actually want it?